The following podcast contains spoilers for Hereditary and A Simple Plan.
It's like,
you have been warned.
Michael,
Yes, Glenn?
it's good to see you.
It is good to see you as well.
I bring you gifts.
Gifts? What is it? A flower? Roses?
It's a couple of flowers.
2 yellow roses.
More than one plural gift. This is
There's
also
some gifts.
a gift of my apologies for being so far away from you my whole life, my love.
It's all your fault.
I know I just said that.
Yeah. I guess I'll accept it.
Watch the thorns, they hurt like my heart. Oh man, it's leaking on me.
No, that's gross.
So, if you haven't figured it out by now, everyone, I am back in Pennsylvania.
Not for long, though.
For the weekend.
For the weekend.
Figured,
For the weekend!
I might as well see my one true admirer, Miguel Me Gusto.
Oh, Glenjamin Button. It's been so long!
Been too long, actually.
Too long.
Hello, everyone.
Hello!
Welcome back to KFR Video
Welcome
Form.
back to KFR. Video and podcast, because this audio will also be used for the podcast.
And this is going to be a little update video. Obviously, we've been gone for hella long time.
Hella.
I don't know how long.
Long
Since
time.
I think I left in the first place. So, we're here to announce, kind of late, that we have been doing podcasts in the audio form.
About 3 months late. No, 2 months.
Yeah,
2.5 months.
roughly.
Me in the middle. 2.5 months late. We have been doing podcasts where we watch 2 videos a week and then discuss them and decide if it deserves to go on the KFR shelf, which is a shelf that doesn't exist, that is just like kind of like a trophy case. Like, does this movie deserve to go in our trophy case? And
it's a beautiful thing. It's great content, at least in our opinion, because we make it.
yes,
So, we believe that you should watch
I've been
it.
told by a few people that they like it.
I watch it, or watch it with my ears,
Listen to
and
it.
I think it's great.
It is pretty great. It's grand. Fantastic.
But yeah, so we're just updating you saying, hey, we're on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, the whole grandiose. I don't even know what that word means.
Grandioso.
But we're on all those platforms, and we'd like you to join us.
Yeah, subscribe if you want. Or just listen.
Or just listen. That's what podcasts
Subscriptions help. Ratings help.
They help motivate us, even though we motivate ourselves with our beauty and elegance
I just like talking about movies.
of our voice.
If that wasn't clear, I just really like talking about movies.
Yeah,
And
it's been a majorly fun experience because we get to form better ideas, and we get to sit in front of computers, get more information than just watching
not
a
be
movie.
distracted by our devilishly good looks.
Well, you got that for sure.
Yeah.
So we get all the information on our computers, and we get a better review out of it totally. And I really enjoy them, and I think we have better content on those podcasts.
Yeah. And because we're not doing... We used to do the reviews right after we saw the movie, and I feel like because we kind of have time in between the viewing and the movie, we have... Or the viewing and the recording is what I meant. We have more time to flesh out our thoughts and be able to discuss.
We get to think
things
about
further.
it, process it, and then deliver it on the platter that is KFR. What? Don't you miss my vocabulary in these things? Because I do.
It's very good.
Very good.
very
It was
good.
interesting, and other words.
Anyway, Glenn,
Hey,
good to see you.
it's good to see you too.
Have you seen any movies since last week? I gotta get my.
Well, let me look in my notebook. No, I haven't seen anything.
I saw Bandersnatch,
Yes.
the Netflix interactive movie. We'll discuss that at a different time.
course.
Bumblebee,
Mm-hmm.
surprisingly not
I
terrible.
still didn't see that. We talked about that and Aquaman, and
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
And then
Terrible
that's
human
it.
being.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
Look
it.
at- Look at you.
I only
go.
watched 2 movies.
Look at you.
Granted, it's only been about 5 or 6 days, but
Go.
still, that's all I have to say. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into Hereditary.
Hereditary it is.
Come on, Peter. It's just soon.
It's heartening to see so many strange new faces here today. I know my mom would be very touched and probably a little suspicious. My mother was a very secretive and private woman. It's Grandma. You know you were her favorite, right? Even when you were a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you. She was a very difficult woman, which maybe explains me.
I recognize you from your mother.
What?
Sometimes I swear I can feel her in the room.
Oh my God! What's that?
She isn't gone.
Anyway, after the family matriarch passes away, a grieving family is haunted by tragic and disturbing occurrences and begin to unravel dark secrets. This movie is starring Toni Collette, Millie Shapiro, Gabriel Byrne, and Alex Wolff, and is written and directed for his first feature by Ari Aster.
Mm-hmm.
And what a movie is this moving pictures and stuff. So
Is this movie?
this is a movie. This is actually one of my favorite movies from 2018.
I almost said this year, and then I realized, holy shit,
Holy shit, we're in another year.
2019.
But yeah, this was one of my favorite movies last year, and I only watched it once in theaters, and it just stuck with me.
Yeah.
And then watching it for a second time, I thought it was better the second time because I knew what to expect. I knew what I was looking for. Toni Collette's phenomenal in this.
I am absolutely on board with you with the second time seeing it as well.
Yeah.
It was the first movie I watched in Virginia without your sexy ass right next to me. It saddened my heart, and it saddens my other bodily functions too. Yes, I am fully on board with it. Was much better the second time, more because you got a better understanding of everything that was going on.
Certainly.
And you could appreciate every little detail just that much more.
Yeah.
Toni Collette, as you were saying. Huh!
She's phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
In this. It's actually really funny. She had been. She's known for more darker roles.
Mm-hmm.
She's really diverse. She's really funny in certain movies as well.
She likes to do comedies, and she likes to
especially in Australia. She was a
likes
pretty big.
to dabble.
She was a pretty big comedic actress, and then she just got into a swing of dark films that was just kind of breaking her spirit as they would.
Yeah.
So she told her agent, I only want to do fun movies, happy movies, no more dark or depressing things.
I'm done with
I
it.
need it for mental health. Then that wily bastard of an agent, or bitch, or britch, sent her the script for Hereditary, and in her words,
And she was like this.
she said,
Let's do it.
"Fuck you, agent," because she had to do it.
She had to do it because the script was just that good.
The script was that good that she felt obligated to go against her own very wishes and
Which was
portray. I'm glad she did because she's perfect in this movie.
Just the things she can do physically in that movie alone. Just with the facial expressions and just the way she does things with the body.
Yeah,
It's just she's such a good actress. It's insane.
she really is. Everyone in this movie is great.
Oh yeah.
Well, excuse me. We should not eat before we do these ever again, because I got lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But you got Alex Wolff, who before this I knew him from Naked Brothers Band, a Nickelodeon kids show.
Oh my goodness.
And he's in this, and he's really good in it as well. He's just really good. I'm turning into you.
Glenn, is that you?
It's
that
Glenn.
it's that seat. You could have said he was
seat.
stupendous. He was exemplary. You could have said anything. I'll
He's
whip out a dictionary.
extraordinary, and he really dove into the role.
Yes.
Head first into the desk. Gabriel Byrne from Usual Suspect. He's really good. The family dynamic throughout between the kids and the parents. It feels really realistic. You can kind of see that there's some tension there, but not enough where it feels like they're dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And when things start to spiral out of control, it's like in a very natural way.
They're just a family with problems. A lot of problems, but they got problems.
Yes.
You know?
And just you really feel like they all care about each other. Hell, even the older brother who one of the cliches in movies is that the older siblings don't care about the younger siblings. In this, his mom kind of forces him to take his younger sister to a party. He doesn't want to hang out with her, but you can tell.
Obviously.
Yeah, you can tell he cares about her. She starts having a allergic reaction to nuts. She has a cake that has nuts in it, and he doesn't complain. He drops everything he does, starts driving her to the nearest hospital. Granted,
things went terribly.
Things
wrong
went terribly wrong.
after that.
Her face met with a telephone pole
at Mach speeds.
At Mach speeds, and she ended up becoming decapitated. But it was not because he did not care about her.
Yeah.
And it could have been really easy to just be like, oh, I have to drive my sister to the hospital.
Instead, I'm going to show her this telephone pole at Mach speed.
And like while you could tell he didn't want to hang out with her, there was the love there. You never felt like they didn't care about each other. Even the daughter didn't really want to go to the party. She just
Mom was like,
kind of forced.
You gotta go.
Yeah, because she's a little socially awkward, so she wanted her to be more
out there.
More out there, exactly.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
But the relationship with the family was just extraordinary, especially after that happened, because it shifted a whole 120. I just said a random number, but
the 180.
I just said the first thing that came to my head. 120. I was like 60,
it's
60.
It's behind you, but a little to the left.
Yeah, when it flipped a whole 120 plus another 60. When the family just went from dysfunctional to a freaking dysfunctionally disturbing.
Dysfunctionally disturbing, yes. Yeah.
I'm back, guys. Here it is. Here's what's going on.
Oh man, but yeah, it really does. The pretty much the entire thing is run. It starts with the day of the grandmother's funeral, and they do a real good job to establish that the Toni Collette, whose mother is the one that died, she loved her, but she isn't really affected emotionally by the death of her mother.
Yeah.
And she does that in two really good speeches, the eulogy at the funeral, and then she goes to the support group where she kind of explains their dysfunction. And it's just explained really well in such a short amount of time. And so you always feel like something's wrong and that not everything's as it seems. And there's actually some really good foreshadowing I don't know if you noticed this, in the monologue at the support group. She says that she had a brother that committed suicide, and in the suicide note he blamed it on their mother, and in the note said that she's forcing people to go inside him, and it could be taken sexually. But knowing where the movie ends up, the entire movie is about this cult trying to find a physical host for a demon. It makes 100% sense. She's been trying to do this ever since she had her own son.
Yeah.
And that I didn't notice that the first time because you don't really know what's going on in the movie.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean by like the second time.
The first sit down in the theaters, you're sitting there like, what am I watching?
The first sit down is more like a ride, kind of like less crazy, but like Mother.
Yeah.
Where like
it's like significantly less crazy.
Yes. Where you're kind of taking it all in. You're not really grasping what's happening, and you're just there for the ride. It's fucked up. It's gory. Well, it's not even that gory. There's parts that are gory, but it's not like gore all over the place.
The end is really where everything.
It's creepy. It's creepy more than it's scary. Which horror movies that are creepy over scary. Because scary, I think like things popping out at you, like jump scares. But they do a good job at not overusing music or loud noises to make you jump. And then the second time you watch it, everything gets kind of put together. It really rewards second viewership, and I love movies that do that because it's hard to be as into a movie the second time as you are the first time.
Yeah, it's really good to see the second time. You get all the little details you didn't get the first time. You get to read between the lines and be like, oh, well, that's going down, and this is why, because of that.
And a thing that Ari Aster does really well, while not making situations comical, he makes moments in those situations comical. Like after the daughter dies, getting beheaded, essentially, while it isn't 100% his fault, the brother is the reason that the sister ends up dying. Not intentionally. Like, there's no legal issues. There's no moral issues. He swerves to avoid a dead deer in the road.
It's an accidental fault.
Yes, accidental faults. Not even neglect. It's just he was trying to avoid a car. Her head was sticking out the window because she was having
deer carcass.
Deer carcass, and just terrible timing. The only pole for miles, her head hits. And so they start having this there's tension, and then it all boils over in this one dinner. And Ari Aster does it so great, where he has comical moments in not funny scenes. Where I don't even know if this was intentional, but Toni Collette says, "You just look at me with that face on your face," and it's one of the funniest lines I've ever heard. But also,
I don't know if it felt like it vibrated again. But that moment was hilarious. Every time you don't expect it, because she's not like, it's one of those moments like it's a normal situation. Like, you're not thinking when you're screaming at somebody, and like she's just like, stop looking at me with the face on your face. Yeah, and it's just like a normal person would do that if they were that pissed off. Yeah, really. I've done it before, not that exact quote, but just not made sense when I'm yelling at somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it just made it all the more real.
Yeah. This movie, I made this joke before, but it still baffles me. It was filmed in Utah. Utah, for the most part, is very conservative. They, large Mormon population. It's all about family values and stuff, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But this movie being about like a satanic cult, being as fucked up as it is, kids dying left and right, and just the themes of this movie, I'm surprised that the Mormons let them film this movie in Utah.
I think you said that before, and I was like, I think they just did it in secret.
Yeah, they did it in secret. They filmed a nice family movie.
Think they let them.
And when the Mormons looked around, when the Mormons turned their back, they're just like, okay, bring out
the Mormons aren't looking. Let's go.
Yeah, but it was a really great movie. Because it's filmed in Utah, fantastic cinematography.
Oh, absolutely.
The flat plains with the mountains, it's great.
And then a huge thing that I liked about this movie is most of the and for the horror movie genre, I'm a huge fan of practical effects over digital effects.
Me too. Yeah,
so
me too.
They used, at least to the best of their extent, they used practical effects as much as they could over the CGIs. Obviously, they had to do some stuff CGI, but like at least 90% of this movie was all practical effects, and it really showed. And when they do practical effects, it just blows it out of the water. If you can do them well, your movie's going to be fantastic, and that's what this movie was. At least on the effects side. I'm not saying it's good or anything. I'm just what?
Going back to the cinematography, Toni Collette's character is like a model builder, like a pretty well-renowned one, because she has newspaper clippings from her work. She's got a show coming up, and she builds models of her house and like scenes. At one point, she makes a model of the scene of her daughter dying. And one thing I noticed the second time around is the cinematography does a really good job at making everything look like it's part of the model. Kind of like there's a bigger force at play controlling them and everything they do, which added just another eeriness element to it. And it was just like a nice touch that I didn't notice the first time, but the second time around I really appreciate it.
It's always that second going.
It's that second going.
That detail. You didn't
second
see the
going
first time.
Details. It was funny watching this. Caitlin watched it with me first time she had seen it, and her reaction to the end. The end is just filled with creepiness, like filled with things hiding in the shadows and people standing in corners and just. It's super creepy, and just watching that with Caitlin was really funny. She was just, I promised her I would never show anyone, but took a video of her, and she's just like this for like the last half hour. And like there's this one part where Alex Wolff wakes up. It's like after Toni Collette finally breaks. She's possessed by the demon,
and she's just chilling.
She's chilling in the corner, and she goes, "Ah, fuck!" And
I
then,
thought that scene was just astounding.
And then in that same sequence, there's a naked guy in the cult who's just smiling, standing in a closet.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off really dark, so you can't really tell what it is. You just see something. And Caitlin just went, "What is that? What is that?" So it was giving her like a panic attack, kind of, in a way. It was just really fun to watch.
Kira's not that bad with horror movies. She doesn't like them unless
Caitlin's only like that if we're at home.
If it's daytime and it's she's not watching it by herself. She won't watch them by herself. Yeah. But if I'm there and it's not exactly nighttime, she's down for it. And surprisingly, she wanted to see this. Like I wasn't expecting her to want to see this. And she was just like, I kind of want to see that because we were gonna watch the CinemaSins for it. And she's like, no, I don't want to see that because I want to watch the movie. I'm like, what? You know this is a horror movie, right? She's like, yeah, I want to see it. I'm like, this is, I guess, perfect because Mike wants to see it for our video. So, or podcast, whatever it is.
Video podcast.
Vodcast.
Okay.
TM. But yeah, she enjoyed the movie a lot. Yeah. She thought a lot of things were predictable, which I was a little baffled about. I'm like, predictable?
I could see the trailer did give away a lot, but also not that too much.
Like the little girl's death. She thought that was predictable because they were showing the telephone pole a lot, which I didn't notice. But
they showed it once.
She's like, well, they were really focused on that telephone pole. I didn't see it. But
well, there's also something I noticed the second time. The scene they do show it, there's like a little etching of the cult symbol that the mother has a necklace for in the telephone pole.
See, I gotta watch it the third time. There's too many details that I gotta see.
Third time, yep.
So she thought that was predictable. I think she said the ending was predictable too.
I mean, once you kind of understand everything,
the ending where the dad burns up.
Yeah, that
part was predictable.
Especially because they showed that in the trailer. It was like, oh, there's only one person that.
But other than that, she really enjoyed it, which I was really surprised about. I was like, I think I love you. But yeah, if a movie like that can impress a chick who doesn't like horror movies, well then imagine us.
Yeah.
Who somewhat likes horror movies, if they're done well.
Yeah, I like really good horror movies. I like good horror movies. I don't like.
Not good horror movies.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I got to say about Hereditary.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a really well done film. Definitely watch it a few times because there's so many details and juices.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I mean, I'm not saying it's good or anything. We didn't get to the rating system. What?
She had private rituals, private friends.
Who's gonna take care of me?
You don't think I'm gonna take care of you?
But when you die...
She wasn't altogether there. At the end.
I don't like this. Dad, I don't like this.
What's happening? Tina! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Wait, Mom, what's happening? Make it stop! Make it stop!
I just don't want to put any more stress on my family.
All right, well, let's move on to A Simple Plan.
Look at all them birds.
Those things are always waiting on something to die so they can eat it, right? What a weird job. That's an airplane.
I wonder how long it's been here.
It's probably one of those drunk doctors. You know how they're always crashing their plane, you know?
Oh my God, look at this. Those are $100 bills.
I bet it's drug money.
You know, what if this guy's a dope dealer? We're just like Robin Hood.
It's a police matter now. What do you think we should do?
What if we didn't turn it in?
It's stealing.
It's the American dream and a gym bag. He just wants to walk away from it.
You work for the American dream. You don't steal it.
Then this is even better. $4 million.
Look how square it is.
If somebody comes searching for the money, I'll burn it. Look, we got to be agreed on this. Would you have done the same thing? I mean, if you'd been there instead of me?
A Simple Plan, directed by Sam Raimi, stars Bill Paxton, Bridget Fonda, Bill Bob Thornton, Billy Bob Thornton, and Brent Briscoe. And the synopsis here is, when three blue-collar acquaintances come across millions of dollars in lost cash, they make a plan to keep their find from the authorities, but find complications and mistrust weaving in its way into their plan.
Weaving its way into their plan.
That's what I thought. I'm just stupid. For what I will say about this movie, I didn't enjoy it, but it mainly felt like a regular movie up until about the hour mark.
Yeah.
That's where it started to get interesting, but other than that, it just felt like an average movie. It felt like that 90s kick.
90s kick. Sam Raimi has this really distinct style. Even in non-horror movies, he kind of has like a horror kind of style to it. And it really felt like this was kind of like a Stephen King 90s movie, like Green Mile, Shawshank. Not that Stephen King had anything to do with this movie, but it did have that feel of, for lack of a better word, safe drama.
Yeah.
Which, I'm fine with. I sometimes would prefer that over Sam Raimi's crazy style. And I think it works for this movie. I really... The whole thing is just super 90s from the beginning.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, you have the big landscapes of Minnesota, and then with a really, really super weird Danny Elfman score, which fits. But it's definitely like, as soon as I heard the music, I was like, oh, Danny Elfman did this. 30 seconds later, music by Danny Elfman. I was like, boom. Got it.
Here we are in the 90s.
Even though it was 99.
Granted, 99. When they were clutching it saying, we're still here, brother. We're not reaching that 2000 mark.
But, I really... This movie is kind of... I don't want to say unpredictable, because it is predictable, but it's predictable in a different way, where, like...
It's predictable in the small ways.
Yeah, like, they find the money, they have this... this argument. They're like, oh, we got to keep the money. Billy Bob Thornton and Brent Briscoe are both like, we got to keep the money, and Bill Paxton says, no, we can't keep the money. It's illegal. It's stealing. What if someone comes looking for us? And then Billy Bob Thornton and Brent Briscoe kind of just persuade him, and they come to an agreement where they'll keep it only if Bill Paxton holds on to it, and he burns it if there's any sort of heat on them.
Yeah, if there's any sort of suspicion that they're the ones who had the money.
So you think, at least I thought, like, oh, either Billy Bob Thornton or Brent Briscoe is going to go blab in their mouth, and they're going to start getting, heat on them, and it's going to create this conflict. And surprisingly enough, it was Bill Paxton.
Yeah, because
that went blab in his mouth.
Because Bill Paxton, he's that college guy. He had higher education, and meanwhile, Billy Bob Thornton, he's not exactly special needs, but he's kind of a slower individual.
Yeah.
And his best friend is, kind of on the same page, but he's not slower. He's just very immature.
Yeah.
And just not a smart dude.
Kind of an alcoholic.
So you would expect Billy Bob Thornton or Brent Briscoe. Briscoe, to be blabbing their mouth, and the first thing Bill Paxton does when he gets home to his wife, he's like, honey, we don't have to do shit forever. Which doesn't make sense, because eventually you got to do shit forever.
Yeah.
But you're expecting this guy on the higher pedestal to really hold his shit together, and meanwhile he's sitting there blabbing his gums.
And this movie really has like two pretty big arcs, one with Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton's character, both on opposite sides in the beginning, where Bill Paxton doesn't want the money and Billy Bob Thornton wants it and says he'll do anything to keep it. And then at the end of the movie, it's completely switched. Well, Bill Paxton is willing to kill for the money, and he has killed for the money. And then Billy Bob Thornton just has this immense sense of guilt wash over him, and regrets everything he's done, starts becoming suicidal slightly, and actually does ask Bill Paxton to kill him in the end, and which I thought that part was a little cheesy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you understood it, because they do set it up for the whole movie, but it was quite the cheese.
Yes,
it was a little bit of Gouda.
little bit of Gouda. I like that.
I will say this about Billy Bob's character. In fact, it was literally the reason why he was hired for this, was it just you could tell because he was hired pretty much right off of Sling Blade.
Yeah.
So they.
Which he's really great in that,
yeah,
too.
He's fantastic in that, but you could tell that's exactly why he was hired for this.
Mhm.
Like, hey, he played that special needs dude really well.
Yeah.
Let's get him to play another special needs dude really well.
I thought when you told me we're gonna watch A Simple Plan, I recognized it from the poster, and I thought because of the poster, Billy Bob Thornton looks almost exactly like Tony Danza. And I thought that Tony Danza was in it, and then you didn't say his name. I was like, he's on the poster. Why wouldn't you say Tony Danza's name?
It's a
And it was,
biography, by the
it
way.
was just Billy Bob Thornton, and I could be misremembering, which is a very southern thing to say. I could be
misremembered this.
I could be forgetting what Tony Danza looks like, but I could have sworn it was Tony Danza.
Looks like Billy Bob Thornton with a wig on.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. But Billy Bob Thornton kills this movie. He's fantastic. He actually earned an Oscar nomination for it.
Did he?
He lost out. Was it 99?
Was it to Sling Blade?
It was not to Sling Blade.
To himself?
He lost to Stand By. Okay, yeah, he lost to James Coburn for Affliction, which I'd never heard of. So maybe they messed up, especially because Ed Harris and The Truman Show, that could have won too. Or Jeffrey Rush and Shakespeare in Love. But his performance in this was really good.
It was.
I thought it was one of the best parts of the movie. And just the two arcs interchanging between Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton was really compelling and kept me engaged. And also, Bridget Fonda's in this. She's pretty much the entire reason shit goes down.
Yeah, it's funny because she was on that higher pedestal with the money thing because Bill Paxton is asking her a bunch of things like, hey, if you found $4 million, what would you do with it? And she's like, oh, well, I'd give it to the police. And then
it
he
starts
just
back
dumps
with
the bag of money. And she's just like, we got this fucking money.
Well, it's a really quick montage. It starts with her saying, you got to return this. Then it's like, well, if we did keep it. And then she says, well, this is what we're going to do.
You're gonna kill that man.
You need to take $500,000 back to the airplane. So if
she becomes the mastermind.
Yeah, she becomes the mastermind of it, for better or for worse. And really, just kind of, I don't want to say manipulates Bill Paxton because he's kind of agreeing with her on everything, but like, because of her,
you can tell he's doing it because of what she's saying.
Yeah, and it's not like it's more of a Bill Paxton's not as smart as they make him look.
It's a conjoined effort.
Yeah,
but he's mainly doing it. He's like, you're right, honey.
Yeah,
we should do that.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. I forget who was actually going to be in this movie. I think one of them was Brad Pitt. I can't remember the other one though. They had casted Brad Pitt and somebody else to be in this movie, but I think there was scheduling conflicts. I think it was that couple too. Can you imagine that movie? That'd be a little.
Yeah, it's weird because like when things like that happen, I can't imagine anyone else. Ben Stiller was set to direct it with Nicolas Cage and Bill Paxton's role, but that would have been really weird. Nicolas Cage's salary kind of affected the budget, so then there was Emma Thompson was considered for the part that Bridget Fonda ultimately got, and Mike Nichols was set to direct it, and then eventually Sam Raimi came on. Yeah, and it was a whole thing. But it really makes you think because I can't think of this movie with anyone other than Bill Paxton, Bridget Fonda, Billy Bob Thornton, and stuff. And that kind of stuff happens all the time, where, for better or for worse, the right actor gets the job. Like Nicolas Cage and Bill Paxton's role, that would have been super weird. Yeah. Ben Stiller as the director, that probably would have been super weird. And I love Ben Stiller as a director, but he is a comedic director. I don't think he could take a serious movie like this.
Well, it's weird to say that, and then they got Sam Raimi directing it, and then here we are talking.
He's always had like, he's been diverse enough where he can do serious when it needs to happen, and he can do comedy when it needs to happen, and he can combine them when it needs to happen.
We kind of talked about it a little bit, but like I only was really getting interested in this movie when the trios kind of started conflicting on another. one another.
Yeah, when the conflict starts, which happens about at the halfway point.
Or conspiring.
Yeah,
When
it's
they start conspiring.
pretty
against
much when Brent Briscoe's character comes in the middle of the night to get money from Bill Paxton, even though they agreed not to touch it for a few months. That's when it started getting really interesting. You knew there was going to be conflict. You knew that they're going to have this conflict of who's in charge here. Brent Briscoe holds things over Bill Paxton's head, holds the death of a farmer over his head, which he did kill the farmer. So it makes sense. But then,
because with that amount of money, good luck.
Yeah,
trusting anybody or anything. You see a tree move,
I trust you.
I'd flinch. I'd flinch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely started getting interesting at that point, and kind of had you more or less grabbed. Even though, obviously, you kind of saw the betrayals coming in the movie, but again, with that amount of movie, there's gonna be betrayals. What did I say? That amount of movie?
That amount of movie, there's gonna be betrayals.
With that amount of money, there's definitely gonna be betrayals.
Yes,
You can't
and that
trust
amount of
anybody.
movie.
And then that amount of movie. Yeah. Did I just do an Aquaman? Yeah.
Yahoo! This is the goofy.
I did enjoy this movie like enough to where like as usual, I didn't write down that many notes.
Yeah,
because it was a good movie, but you weren't like, holy damn.
If there is a minimal amount of notes, it means you enjoyed it, but there wasn't enough good or good to talk about it. There wasn't enough bad to talk about it.
It was just enjoyable.
Yes. But, it surprised me. I was pleasantly surprised.
I was enjoyed.
I was pleasantly enjoyed. And, the thing that it kind of just ends at some point.
It really does.
They have this standoff with this robber. They find out that the money is from kidnappers, and one of the kidnappers comes to the town acting like he's a FBI agent, and then leads them to the plane and kills the cop and all that. And then the robber dies. Bill Paxton kills Billy Bob Thornton out of his request because he can't live with the guilt anymore. And then you find out that 1 in 10 of the bills has been marked. Basically, not marked, but they take down the serial number so if it comes up, and then it just ends. He burns the money and it's done. And in a way, it works because it's like all that was for nothing.
It works because like, how else are you gonna end it?
Yeah,
you burn the money.
It's either gonna end with them burning the money.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton dying, which didn't happen, or it's gonna end with a happy ending where they move away, become rich, and live happily ever after. And I'm glad it didn't do that, but it does just end. For better or for worse. I keep saying that too.
Well, it just ends.
Yeah,
and it probably would have been a little bit better if they put Billy Bob Thornton's character, in the ground or something next to their mother or their father. Is it their? I assume it's. I think
father. It was both. They talked about their father who committed suicide.
Yeah, it probably would have been better because they did in the beginning of the movie visit the.
There's no closure for Billy Bob Thornton, which is ultimately the thing that bothered me the most.
Yeah,
so there's no closure for him.
He just gets shot in the head and then.
Yeah, and the poor dog. Nothing happens to the dog, but like, the dog's there when they kill Billy Bob Thornton. He just runs away.
Mm-hmm. I did really like the marked bills thing because
you think he's gonna get away with it.
Yeah, you think they're like, oh, now they got all this money. In fact, they did it all for nothing.
Yeah,
and that was probably my favorite part of the movie was that because they did all this, they killed people and they did all this. It makes you think, greedy bastards are greedy and they ain't getting shit no more. That's my favorite part of the lesson here.
Yes.
Greedy bastards ain't get shit.
Greedy bastards ain't getting shit.
I didn't mean to say in that accent. I apologize. But you ain't getting shit, greedy
yeah, I got nothing else to say about it. What about you?
That's it.
That's it. All right.
Man from the FBI is going to be driving through. Seems they're looking for a lost plane.
I want my share.
Plan was to sit on the money till we decide that it's safe to keep.
Looks like there's two sides now. We're all in this together, man.
You had to pick right now. Who would it be?
You're my brother.
From now on, we have to be thinking ahead all the time.
To someone who's been properly trained, there are many ways to detect a liar.
You're just a normal guy, a nice, sweet, normal guy.
They're gonna know.
No, they won't.
You think you can take us out there?
Can you tell us what this is all about?
Looking for a plane.
I'm taking the money back right now.
You gotta get out of there.
Everything okay?
He's gonna shoot all three of you as soon as he sees the plane.
Don't move!
We gotta make this look like it was an accident. They're not gonna take me away, are they?
We're the ones who need that money! He just wants it!
Put the gun down! Jacob!
Well, I'm trying to come up with a plan.
Don't turn your back! Hank, do you ever feel evil? I do.
Well, it has come to the time where we talk about whether or not these movies belong on the shelf. We have Hereditary and A Simple Plan.
Yep.
Will 1 go? Will 2 go? Will 0 go? That's the real question. Glenn, would you put Hereditary on the KFR shelf?
From now on, when we do this, whoever picked the movie has to go first. So I'll be going first for Simple Plan.
Okay, so I will go first for Hereditary. This was one of my favorite movies of 2018. It's probably in my top 100 of all time. I have no quarrels with it. Honestly, the things that bugged me about it the first time did not bug me about it the second time.
Yes.
So I'd say absolutely 100% this goes on the shelf.
We're gonna have to get a bigger shelf because we're putting that on there, mom. Putting that on there, mom. So Hereditary goes on the shelf.
Hereditary goes on the shelf.
Along with many other movies we have so far.
Well deserving of being on the shelf, in my opinion. Yes. Probably one of the best directorial debuts I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Yes. So there's that. And now we move on to A Simple Plan, which is my pick. And what do I have to say about this shelf being so dusty? Clean it off, because we're not putting it on. I just want that shelf nice and clean.
I'm allergic to dust, so you're just thinking of me.
I'm not putting Simple Plan on. I thought it was a good movie. Again, it was enjoyable, but I didn't think it was over the top. Oh, I need to put this on the shelf and show people. The movie itself was good and regular, but I thought a few little plot twists aren't gonna hold me back from saying no.
Well, I'm kind of glad you said that because I didn't really want it on the shelf.
Yeah.
But with how surprised I was at how good it was, I was going to say yes no matter what you said. So I would say yes. Of course, it doesn't matter because it has to be unanimous. But it really surprised me how good it was. I was not expecting it. And movies that surprise me are always worthy of talking about, in my opinion. So I was going to say yes, doesn't matter. So Hereditary makes it on. A Simple Plan does not. How could this happen to me?
This is why I like talking about.
I've made my mistakes.
This is why I like me choosing before you for my movie. That way you can be like, oh, well, you're just an asshole. So I'm
not saying that.
And then, like, if you say no for your movie, well, I'm like, well, you're an asshole, so I'm picking yes.
But yeah, it's that's the way the cookie crumbles.
That it is. Hereditary makes the shelf. Simple Plan is
not. But we got movies for next week.
We do.
What is your movie for next week?
I don't have a little IMDb phone right now, but my movie is called A Private Life, and it's got Paul Giamatti in it. I don't know who else is in it because I don't have my hand phone in my hand.
A Private Life?
And that is on Netflix. I know we said we were going to try to stray away from that, but that's a nay. That's a
Catherine Hahn, directed by Tamara Jenkins. Those are the Catherine Hahn, Paul Giamatti, directed by Tamara Jenkins, and author Hahn is undergoing multiple fertility therapies to get pregnant, putting her relationship with her husband, Paul Giamatti, on edge.
Oh. Well, looks like we're going to be sad next week.
We're going to be sad.
Be little sad boys.
But yeah, that's I'm interested in seeing that.
Okay.
Always love Paul Giamatti. Mine is The Land of Steady Habits, also available on Netflix. It is directed by Nicole Holofcener. We got 2 female directors this week. Look at that.
We're making moves here.
We're making moves. Women, you're welcome. We're doing so much for you. I'm sorry. No. This is actually really great. I really like it. Like
when we're branching out from the male treyarch. Patriarch. The male, I'm still learning words
yeah, we got two female directors. It stars Ben Mendelsohn and Connie Brighton and Thomas Mann. And it is about, after leaving his wife and his job to find happiness, Anders befriends a drug-addicted teen, sending him down a path of reckless and shameful behavior. Ooh, we're going to be really sad.
Whoa.
gonna be so
Well,
sad.
I'll bring a tissue box for myself because I ain't coming back. I ain't
But
coming
yeah,
back to
so
this Pennsylvania life.
next week's movies are, I forget yours already.
Private Life.
Private Life and The Land of Steady Habits. We will be taking a kind of hiatus. We're going to have a slightly different episode in the next 2 weeks. I'm filming my movie over the next 2 weeks and also going to Atlanta to film a music video. So we're not going to have a normal episode probably until February.
Yep.
But we will have a special episode sometime for y'all. So until then, you can follow us on Instagram, Keystone_film_review. On Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that'll do it for this week. Goodbye, everybody.
Adios.